What's up everybody, it's Skill Up here with another Division video. It's time for my weekly Should I Buy It? A look at what are the vendors selling, should you buy it, and if you do buy it, how do you mod it to get the most out of it? I do these videos every single week, no matter how bad the vendor stock is, so if you like this sort of content, then be sure to drop the video a like and subscribe, and with that, let's check out what's available at the base of operations. Alright, so upstairs at the special equipment vendor, we have the Historian, same as usual, you'll see a review of that in the description below. We've got a G36C, which with prepared, predatory, and focused, nothing particularly good there. Prepared is not useful for an assault rifle because 40 meters is well and truly beyond the optimal range of a G36, so not a talent you should be aiming for. We have an SAS G12 here with stable, adept, and unforgiving. Stable is a really poor talent. I did a video on that one specifically. It only increases your stability by a very small margin. Adept is not too bad, but it does have a fairly high electronics requirement, and unforgiving is pretty decent to be honest, but it's more about a PvP thing. If you're sort of looking to drop targets and you're expecting to be trading blows, it's quite useful then, but we really shouldn't be using it in PvE. Either way, this weapon is a 204. Overall, I would say this is probably not worth a purchase. I would skip this one. Next up, we have the M1911, which, you know, it's first of all, it's 182, which means, you know, it's already behind the 8 ball. But more than anything else, it's not an X45, one of the new weapons available in patch 1.3. The X45 is just like spectacularly strong, like just crazy strong. And you would pretty much only use an X45 at this point, given the way that pistol has been tuned. So nothing worthwhile purchasing upstairs. Downstairs at the special equipment vendor in the terminal, we have a military MK46 with destructive, talented, and with predatory. Not a bad set of rolls. You probably want to roll away the talented option on that. It's a 204, so you know it's okay. If you're really looking for an LMG, I'd probably recommend an M60 over this one for that sort of huge magazine minigun style of play. But look, this isn't so bad. If you're really keen on this sort of play style and you're really chasing something, then you could do worse than this one. It's okay. Next up, we have a custom M870 CS with responsive, with capable, and with destructive. Now, this is good. This is actually really good. So responsive, obviously, more damage when you're within 10 meters of the target, and you're almost always within 10 meters when using a shotgun, so that's nice. Capable is a skill that increases weapon handling, and most notably it just keeps your reticle really stable, so can be quite good. Probably not for a shotgun. Generally shotguns don't have too much worry with regards to reticle management given how close you are when you're using them, but still it's a nice to have. And then finally destructive, armor destruction value is increased by 18%. So the other thing I guess with this is that obviously shotguns these days are used for PvP more than anything else, or specifically I should say the M870 is used for PvP. If you're PvEing, you're probably going to be using an SASG or a sausage as it's affectionately known. But look, overall, this is a really good set of talents on a 204, M870 shotgun. It's definitely something I would take a look at. If you are chasing a good shotgun to be using, this is a good one. If you're wanting to use something in an alpha bridge build, this is a great one. It's just overall a really well-rolled item. So do take a look at it, see if it's going to fit your build. And finally, we have another M870 with unforgiving, with swift, and with responsive. Not as good a roll. First of all, it's 182, so it's lower. Swift is really a terrible talent, given the fact that, a minuscule increase to your total DPS throughput. And unforgiving, we've also spoken about already. Good in PvP settings, not so great in PvE, and I generally would avoid this one in most conditions. So yeah, not too bad. Again, this M870, pretty good. I would have a look at this one. It just might work for you. The special blueprints vendor over here, he sells one item each week that we're probably going to be interested in, and this one is an electronics gear mod. It's the level 32 item. Generally, most of us are not modding for electronics at this point, so probably not one worth purchasing, but there it is if you need it. Downstairs in the underground this week, we have some interesting things on sale. First of all, we've got the level 40 item as a surplus SVD with swift, proficient, and decisive. I don't particularly like this. Swift, as I said, sucks. Proficient is only on your first bullet. It's bonus crit. We already have a fair amount of crit from things like pulse and our base, modding and the like. Not particularly interesting, and the surplus SVD really doesn't care that much about crits. It's more, an M44 for instance cares about big crits. Big crit on SVD is not particularly exciting. This is a throughput based weapon, so it's not a really good talent fit for that one. And finally decisive, when you kill a target, the next bullet you get crits. Similar sort of concept to what we were talking about before. Crits aren't great for an SVD. So overall, this is not a great purchase. I'd probably recommend giving this one a miss. We have a military G36, again with Swift, not great. With Provident, the last bullet of a magazine deals 57% more damage. Terrible talent on an automatic weapon. Do not pick that one up. And finally, Focus, which as I've said before, I generally like to roll away because I'd rather be using my abilities than not. We've got a Paratrooper SVD, which should be really good, but sadly is not. Skilled is the first talent with the challenge is it's a great talent, but it has a requirement of 2,362 electronics. It's just crazy how high it is. No one runs that amount of electronics, or very few people at least. So you have to write that one off. Vicious is a decent talent when you're at full health, and it does nothing for you when you're not. And a lot of the time we are not at full health, so for that reason it's not particularly compelling. And Decisive I generally don't like. You need to land the killing blow on a target in order to make this proc, and even then a Paratrooper SVD doesn't benefit a huge amount from crits, so not a great purchase unfortunately. Finally, this G36C here has Predatory, Swift and Focused. Yeah, not worth purchasing at all. The combination of talents there do not work. And Swift, seems like every weapon has Swift this week. At the DD3 vendor this week we have like Shotgun Central. We've got a military M870 182 rank 40 item. It's with Meticulous, Adept and Determined. Not a good roll, so don't recommend that one. We've got a M45A1. Again, it's not an X45, so I wouldn't recommend it. We've got a double barrel shotgun with Restored, Fierce and Predatory. Not a good combination of talent, so I'd give that one a miss. We've got a Marine Super 90 with Stable, Sustained and Brutal. Now this one is actually pretty good. So Stable we've already talked about, not a good talent. Sustained, killing a target increases your health by 6%. So this doesn't actually heal you, it just increases your maximum health so that you can take more heals. But it's yeah, it's not bad. And then Brutal obviously is excellent. Headshot damage increased by 24.5%. Yeah, this is a good weapon to be honest. I think you could do a lot worse than this. It's the Super 90 is a higher rate of fire weapon. It's not quite as good as a as an M870 in PvP. It's not as good as a Sausage in PvE, but it's decent enough. And if you're looking to sort of dump a few Darkzone funds, maybe it might work for you. So check it out, see if it will fit your build. Finally, we have a double barrel shotgun with Fierce, with Deadly, and with Trained. Now, Fierce has a very high electronics requirement, which pushes it out of the range of most people who would want to use it. Deadly is obviously excellent, it's that critical hit damage. And Trained, critical hits increase signature skill resources by 0.1%. This is the real kicker with this one. You're not building crit on shotguns, right? It's just not what you're doing generally. You want as much crit as you can, but you're not building for it. And the rate of fire with this just means that it would take you forever to get any benefit out of this talent. So unfortunately, this one is a bit of a pass. It's the only 229 weapon on the rack this week, and sadly, it's not worth the purchase. However, as I said, this Super 90 isn't terrible. Check it out, see if it could work for you. And as for blueprints this week, we have a custom M870 CS, which is of course a 204, but a 204 M870, sorry, could still be like just totally disgusting in the Darkzone if it has the right talents. So I wouldn't pass this one up. If you're looking at really rocking a shotgun, if you're looking at an Alpha Bridge build, I would definitely recommend picking this up and just rolling it for days until you get just the right combination of talents. It can be very, very brutal in the Darkzone if you do it right. And finally, the last one is a tactical ACR with it's the assault rifle. Not one of the better grades of assault rifle. You're really looking for either an AK-74 or for a G36 or an LVOAC, but still, if you want to sort of complete your collection, then that's there for you. The gear mod vendor in DZ4 is currently selling an electronics gear mod, which is the same as it's on sale in the base of operations at the moment, and also a stamina gear mod. These are both the level 32 versions of these, so pick them up if you need them. And finally, at DZ5, the mod vendor there is selling a vertical grip Coyote 10, which is initial bullet stability and horizontal stability. Not a good purchase at all. Do not recommend this one. We've got an Omega rifle suppressor with critical hit damage and reduced threat. As I've said many times, threat is currently not a functional mechanic, so don't be modding for threat. And in terms of the blueprints, we've got the Osprey 45, which rolls with base reduced threat, same as above, don't get this one, and also a quick release magazine, which I really don't recommend either, purely because, yeah, reload speed on a magazine is just a very, very small increase in DPS throughput, and you're much better off putting things like rate of fire or weapon damage. So that's it, guys. Not really anything worth talking about this week, sadly. The shotgun back in the base of operations was fairly decent, but not stand out, so hopefully these will get get something better next week. But either way, if you liked the video and you found it useful, do drop it a like. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe now for end-to-end Division, Battlefield, Destiny, and Overwatch coverage. For now, guys, take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.